Today we have guest with us, Cody Dirnberger. He is a Missouri land professional based over in southeast corner of Missouri, down around the Boot Hill. And we're here to talk to Cody a little bit today, get to know him and what he's all about. How you doing, Cody?
Pretty good, Kix. It's sunny and 75.
Can't
Can't
beat
complain.
that. Absolutely. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. How long you been in real estate and what got you involved in this game? And talk to us a little bit there.
Well, it's a bit of a longer story, I guess. I've been in real estate for going on 12 years now. I went inactive for a couple years when I was working for the railroad. Kind of got started right out of college. I've always been fascinated with real estate. Been a big part of my life with, my whole family's got a background in agriculture, and pretty well every one of my relatives farms in some kind of a fashion other than myself. But just kind of all started, at a young age for me. Really liked the game of Monopoly when I was a kid, and just kind of grew from there. And as I got older, just got a little bit more real.
Yeah. About 12 years. You've been in it a long time.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's been that long. I mean, it's been just a lot of fun. Really have grown a lot the last few years here with Basecamp. Can't say enough good things about the company and the people that are in the company, just always having, pushing you to do a little bit better and, sell more and do stuff. Just represent your clients in a better way. It makes you a lot easier to sell yourself when you got a great team backing you.
Absolutely, man. How long you been with Basecamp?
I think this January will be 3, maybe 4 years. I think it's either going on 3 years or 4 years. Seems like it's been a really long time.
Well, Basecamp's come a long way in those 3 or 4 years, man. We're just getting bigger and bigger and better and better. And it's a great company to work for, man. Everybody here is super awesome and bunch of knowledge, and always everybody's willing to help you out. I've called you multiple times asking you questions, and it's kind of like one big family over here.
Yeah, absolutely. I still remember, I think it was before you hired on, when you called and you were just kind of inquiring about the company. And I remember thinking after that phone call, like, he's going to be good. It's going to work out.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I really enjoyed it. I've been here since May with Basecamp, and so I've been a real estate agent for almost 3 years now, but just been with Basecamp Country since May, and it was probably the best decision I ever made coming over here, man. I love it. So you've got some big properties under contract right now, and you got a couple of other big ones listed, man. How do you get so lucky and get these big properties like that?
Well, I'd say luck definitely has a lot to do with it. I mean, really, the people, in our area, we're just pretty close. A lot of relationships that we've been building for years and years just kind of all comes together. Yeah, we've been fortunate to have quite a bit of business here locally. It's just a great market. There's a lot of beautiful properties, and being able to represent them, I mean, it's incredible. I get excited every time the phone rings, potential listing, even if they don't end up, listing it, just getting to go out there, step foot on a new piece of property, man, it's exciting.
Yeah, you've sold some beautiful pieces of land. I always love looking at your stuff, man. I check out all the pictures and everything from all the land you guys sell over there in southeast Missouri, and you guys have sold some really beautiful properties.
Yeah, Travis is my brother, and he came on with us in the spring. And then my cousin Tyler, he just put together a pretty big deal himself. And then, so my brother's been doing it, I think February or March, and then Tyler came on just about a month later or so. And it's been a lot of fun getting to work with those guys. Just me and Tyler have worked together a lot. And then my brother, he's helped me out for the last 12 years. He's an expert when it comes to valuing land. He deals with it every day in the agronomy side. So he's been helping me out a lot. Just recently, I've been able to return the favor a little bit and help him out in the real estate side of things.
Sure. Now, is real estate all you do? Is that what you do full time, or you involved in something else too?
I do work for a pipeline company, and I do real estate full time as well, because, the phone's always ringing and there's always things that could be done. But full-time employment is work for natural gas pipeline company.
Okay. I was gonna say, I know you've got enough properties listed and enough, business going on with real estate. That's probably all you need to do, man. You're a busy guy with that.
Yeah, thankfully they give me quite a few vacation days because I don't know what I would do without the 4 weeks of vacation. I use 3.5 weeks for real estate to do well.
So where are you located at? I know you're over there kind of in the Boot Hill, but what is your specific area over there?
Just south of Cape Girardeau, in between Cape Girardeau and Sykeston, more specifically. Just kind of a small rural, lot of farm ground, just small little towns. I live in a little town called Oran, and I think about population 3 or 4 thousand people. So it's not large by any means.
Over there in the Boot Hill, that you guys got some really good duck hunting over there, man. You do any duck hunting? Are you involved in that at all? Or
I used to quite a bit back when I was younger, and then I realized that I could no longer afford to do it, and still have some friends and family that are real big into duck hunting. I just kind of quit going. I lost some spots to go, and then I fought the public land stuff for a few years, and then it just got to where, waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning to try and go draw a pill, maybe get a chance to shoot a duck, just wasn't worth it whenever I started having kids and priorities.
changes a lot when you start having kids, man. We used to duck hunt quite a bit too, and we don't do it near as much as we used to anymore, but it was fun while it lasted, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. There is some good duck hunting in the area. I've sold some good duck holes, and I'd really like to get a couple more listed because it's just, a good duck hole is hard to find, and
Yeah.
they don't really come up for sale that often.
No, they really don't. It's Duck hunting's pretty hard in this area, but I used to travel to southeast Missouri quite a bit, hunting over in Poplar Bluff and over there around Duck Creek and all those places, and pretty good spots.
Yeah, yep, for sure.
So do you and Travis and Tyler, you guys all kind of cover the same area, or do you split that up? How does that work?
Yeah, we overlap quite a bit. We're all from Scott County here, and all being family members, a lot of our leads are overlapping, but we find a way to, it's not like we're competing with each other, we're all working together. So a lot of times, if something's listed, we'll kind of just tackle it as a team and go from there, especially doing it part-time, having Travis and Tyler. I mean, it really helps,
Yep.
helps me out, and it helps sell to our clients, hey, we have 3 people, 3 agents for the price of one is really the best way to put it there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely an advantage, man. That's awesome that you guys are able to do that. So, you do any deer hunting?
Yeah, I do quite a bit of deer hunting this year. I have been dropping the ball pretty good. I did just have a couple deer show up here in the last few days, hoping to get a little more motivation. And this weather, this little cool snap's kind of got me wanting to get out. And it crossed my mind, if we wouldn't be here doing this, it crossed my mind to get out there today, and I still might, but
Yeah.
it's warmed up a little bit.
It's pretty warm over here in my spot. Man, I went last Tuesday night and didn't see anything Tuesday night, but decided to head back out Wednesday morning. And man, it's kind of a funny story actually. Tuesday night, I was hunting out of my tree stand. And when I got done for the evening, started climbing out of my tree stand, I got down on the ground and I realized my safety harness had broke. And so luckily I noticed it after I was already on the ground, but I was like, man, what am I going to do for tomorrow morning? Cause I didn't have a spare safety harness. So Wednesday morning, and it was too late to run to Bass Pro or whatever to pick something up. So Wednesday morning, I was like, well, I'm not going to climb in my tree without a safety harness. So I was like, what am I going to do? So anyway, I went out here to my property and just decided to stand next to the horse barn. And so I'm just standing on the ground, man. And I got out there at dark and I was standing there till about probably 8:45, kind of got tired of standing. So I was like, man, I'm just going to have a seat here on the ground. Just keep an eye, see what happens. I hung my bow up on the side of the barn. There's a little 2x4 that comes out, perfect spot to hang a bow. And so I just left it hanging up there and had a seat on the ground. And I bet you I hadn't been sitting for 10 minutes. And here comes 5 does, not 15 feet from me, just walking right by. And of course, I'm stuck on the ground. My bow's up on on the roof. And I'm like, man, I couldn't move. I couldn't budge. I was gosh, here we go. So they walked on by. They got by me. I stood up. This time they were on the back side of the barn, so they couldn't see me because I was on the side of the barn. I stood up, kind of peeked around the corner, and they were over at the pond getting a drink. And there was a tree, big tree between me and the pond, so I couldn't get a shot off a couple of trees. And so I was like, well, I'll walk around to the front side of the barn and go over, look at them that way, see if I can get a shot over there. So I grabbed my bow and I walked around the front side of the barn. I get over there and I peek around the corner and I look and there's no deer over at the pond. And I'm like, well, where'd they go? I look across the pasture over there and they're about 100 yards away on the other side of the field. And I was like, man, I was trying to do some doe patrol and didn't get it done.
Yeah, sounds like you just about did, though.
It was close. It was fun. It was fun. You know, I didn't expect to see anything standing on the ground like that, but it worked out.
Yeah, some of my favorite hunts have been from the ground. You know, kind of how I got started was, you know, just go out there, and Dad or somebody just say go out there and, you know, sit up against a tree, and that's kind of where I started hunting. And then, you know, growing up, I still do it to this day, still just, you know, just to kind of remind me of where it all started. Just
Sure.
go out and sit up against a tree and see what happens.
Yep. I love rifle hunting from the ground. You know, I'll pop up a blind or I've got a little tree seat and just wrap it around a tree and have a seat. And I do that a lot, but I don't like doing that with a bow. It makes it a little more difficult that way.
It does present quite a bit bigger of a challenge getting one with a bow on the ground. I've only done it a couple times, and it's way harder than when you're sitting in a tree.
Yeah. Got to be super quiet and super slow.
Yeah. Yep. And I've been busted more times than ever gotten shots off.
Yep. Man, I like hunting out of a blind in rifle season. Just, I don't know why. You can slap up one of them little Mr. Buddy heaters. I stay pretty toasty in there. And, you know, I don't have a big plastic redneck blind or anything like that. So I just throw a pop-up blind up. I stay pretty toasty, really. It's not bad. I could sit there all.
I built mainly for my nephew and my kids. I built a pretty good sized blind in a gravity flow wagon a couple years ago, and we've really enjoyed it. We've had some great hunts out of it. The very first hunt we ever did out of it, I brought my nephew Bennett, and it wasn't probably 45 minutes into the biggest deer we had on camera all year. Stepped, and he was probably 20 yards broadside standing there, and I'm like, you know, get your gun up. You know, he's on him. You know, of course he's nervous. You know, first he hadn't killed a deer yet, and this was a monster 8-pointer. I mean, it was a great deer, and he's sitting there, and I could see he was on him. I'm just telling him, like, you're on him, pull the trigger, you know.
Yeah.
And he couldn't find him in the scope, I guess. Then he walks off, the buck walks off, you know, gets a little further, keeps getting a little further. He's following him. Then finally he went, you know, to where I know he's not gonna even have a chance. He was about 150 yards at that point, and he was still wanting to shoot him because he could see him in the scope. And I was like, no. Then at the same time, there was a littler buck. It was a spike that came out and did the exact same thing as that 8-pointer. And I was like, here's your shot, you know. And of course, he ended up getting on him and pulling the trigger, and a deer dropped. And man, it was a great first time out of that blind.
That's awesome.
It was incredible.
That is awesome, man. Kids, I love seeing kids in the outdoors, man. I said it on the last podcast. They're our future, you know, in this industry. You got to get them out there, get them loving it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been incredible to be able to, you know, just to be able to watch, you know, Bennett in the outdoors. That's Travis's oldest boy. And then my 8-year-old Sawyer, we took him out turkey season youth hunt this year in Missouri. And I have been on a lot of turkey hunts. I've killed turkeys in a lot of states, and I have never had a hunt that, you know, really just was as exciting as that one. Whenever I watched my boy kill his first turkey, I mean, it brought a grown man to tears, really. It was incredible. I loved every minute of it. And then the next day, actually, took my nephew, Bennett, and we killed him a turkey. And gosh, it was the same feeling, you know, just like it made me not even want to go kill a turkey because I just had two of the best hunts that I've ever had in my life, and they happened to be back-to-back days. So I ended up killing two more turkeys, but it wasn't nearly as exciting as what watching them kill their first turkeys was, man. It was all the girls, they're still a little young to hunt, but I'm excited. I've taken them out a few times. They're just 5 and 3, so they're not quite ready for firearm yet.
Sure. How many kids you got, man? I can hear the baby being put to sleep in the background there with you.
Yeah. So hopefully she's in there taking a good nap.
Yeah.
So I got Sawyer, he's 8 years old, and then Peyton is 5, and then Cameron, she is 3. So
Nice.
3 kids.
3 kids.
Yeah.
That's pretty good range. I
keep my hands pretty full.
bet they do, man. I got 4 of them, so I get it. Luckily, my oldest one is 19 years old, so he's pretty much out on his own. And then I've got a 16-year-old, and a 7-year-old, and a 5-year-old. So, or I'm sorry, 7-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
So
all across the board, keep you on your toes, keep you young.
absolutely, man, absolutely. My boy, he started hunting with me. Oh man, he was older, He used to live with his mom, and he came to live with me when he was about 13, and so I started getting him to hunt, and man, he's been ate up with it ever since, and he's really getting into it now that he's kind of out on his own and exploring that adventure. He's loving it though.
Yeah, absolutely. It's exciting to watch their excitement. It really brings you kind of back whenever you first started doing it.
Yeah.
Just to kind of see them get excited about something for the first time. It's there's no better feeling as far as being a father, being able to watch your kids, see that excitement through their eyes. I mean, it means something.
Absolutely. I know you went to Southwest Missouri State University. You got your bachelor's degree back in 2012? Was that right?
Yeah. Yep. 2012. I got a degree in construction management and design.
Okay.
Did construction work pretty well through college. Me and Tyler actually worked together, and we worked for the same company, and we kind of just realized, it was just time to do something different. And then after about a year, it was hard to find a job in 2012, even with a college degree. So
Sure.
I decided I was going to real estate school, and I was going to do that, and then realized that real estate was pretty tough too with no income. I started off, I was doing it full time and had no income, and had a couple good listings, and I was trying to do everything right, but just working for a really small brokerage in kind of the middle of nowhere, and great company to work for, just was kind of on the lower end of technology, and I learned a lot of the right way to do listings, but just didn't have any of the tools that we have now. It was quite a bit different back then.
Yeah. I started off at really large brokerage, one of the largest brokerages in the country, I believe. So I learned a lot from them. It was good.
Man.
I got to get really good with my contract work, and they're very high on their technology, and so that really helped a lot. I was with them for 2 years before I came over to base camp, and nothing bad to say about them. It just this is more of who I am and what I'm about. That's why I came over to base camps. Love it here, man.
Yeah, we're lucky to have you.
I appreciate it, man. I'm thinking about jumping in full time here after the first of the year, so see how that goes.
Yeah, I think you'd be great at it, man. It's something I've definitely toyed around with pretty well my whole life. It's losing the insurance is kind of something that I'm not ready to do, and I enjoy being, working for the pipeline. It's a good company. They're really flexible, as far as my vacation goes, obviously, or I wouldn't be able to do what I do here.
Sure.
I work with some really amazing guys out there, and kind of like, this company, there's just a lot of good people that work out there. There's a lot of great people that work with base camp. So it's enjoyable.
I'm very seriously considering jumping into real estate full time after the first of the year, and I'll still own and manage the barbershop, and I can do that, from anywhere. But I feel like if I had more time to put into real estate, I'd be even better at it, and I think that's the route I'm going to head down.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's it's exciting, and I mean, I get excited just like a little kid every time, every time I go step foot on a piece of property, like a new farm. It's just like yesterday, I had seller lead for 105 acres, and it's just tillable acreage. So you really wouldn't think, you've seen one tillable farm, you've seen them all, but it's not like that for me. I go out there and I'm just like a little kid running all over the place. I'm glad
Yeah.
there's not a video camera on some of these farms, because they would probably make fun of me quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I love getting out there and just checking out new pieces of property. It's one of my favorite parts of the job. It really is. And then I also love taking buyers out and showing them all these properties, because, man, I'll sit there and talk to them about, oh, man, you could build a house right here, put your shop over there, you could build a pond right here, just give them all sorts of ideas. And they really love that, because they're like, we would have never thought of that. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that 317 acres that we put under contract a couple months ago. I mean, it's an amazing farm, and it was almost bittersweet putting it under contract, because I'm like, now I don't get to, show this farm to 20, 30 other people. Like, I was really looking forward to showing a bunch of people, but I mean, man, it's a beautiful, beautiful farm, and that's all I could see when I went out there. I'm like, I would put a levee here, put a pond,
yeah,
house. You could build a house on 250 acres of the 300 acres you could put a house on. I mean,
yeah,
just absolute amazing farm. Tons of deer and turkey. I mean, a lot of row crop. It was a dream, man.
that's
So
awesome.
to be able to represent, a property like that, I mean, it means the world to me. And, I was excited to take it to the market, and, to do it justice. Is something like that, it's a kind of there's a lot of pressure involved with, like, all right, you got to do the best to represent a property of that caliber, and nothing I do will be able to, justify how gorgeous it looks in person. So
Yeah.
I just got to paint a good enough picture. Once the people get on the property, they can see it for themselves. And, it's really just facilitating or engaging, those two things to happen simultaneously there.
You said that one's under contract right now?
Yeah. Yep.
Nice. When are you guys closing on it? Do you know yet?
Well, there's a bit of a struggle on that. They gotta work out some stuff with the title company, so not
Gotcha.
for sure when it's closing, but it'll happen. It's just a kind of a matter of time. And then Tyler just was able to help a buyer buy about 500 acres of row crop, and he did a heck of a job for the buyer on that. He was for his first deal, he's
Massive.
gonna have a hard time beating that one, really.
Massive. Yeah, that was a heck of a deal he got, man. I would love to get a deal
Yeah.
like that. So good for him, though. Proud of him.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome. Me too. I was excited for him. Travis has a beautiful farm listed up in Perry County. He's got 135 acres, I believe, up there. Yeah, I think it's 135. It's got great fencing. It's set up for high intensity grazing, and just a beautiful cattle farm. Has a creek, a little bit of tillable. Beautiful 2-story farmhouse on it. I mean, if a person was looking, it'd be paradise out there. It's beautiful country.
Pictures of it are beautiful. I haven't seen it in person, but I've seen the pictures. They're awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, he did a great job with that listing. I got on to look at it again and just to appreciate it.
Yeah.
Need to need to carve out some time and go up there and do a little walking around. It's
You guys,
same thing. I went up there with him, and as soon as we stepped foot on the property, they were wanting to look at the house. I'm like, you guys look at the house. I'm gonna go back here and look at the farm.
yeah.
And so they were going through the house, and I was just running around the creek bottoms and out in the fields looking for deer.
Yeah.
It's just kind of what
That's
I
what I
do.
tell everybody, man. Everybody always asks me why I left the last brokerage I was with. And I was like, man, my answer is always the same. Man, I couldn't tell you the difference between a marble countertop and a Formica countertop, but I can walk out there on that land and tell you every kind of tree that's sitting out there. I don't care about houses,
Yeah,
man. I care about that land.
it's definitely a different ball game. And I tell people, I've sold several houses, and kind of getting started, you almost have to,
Yep.
just to make a living. But
Yep.
the housing. There's people that do houses better than I do houses.
Sure.
There's probably very few people that do land like I do land, and I think it's the things that set us apart. Yourself and all of the guys at base camp really sets us apart, because we might not be the best people to list your 2-story house, but your 2-story house on 135 acres, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're going to paint that picture for you. We're all excited to do it, and it's just an opportunity. The opportunity to do it is incredible.
Yep.
It's not work for me, at least. I don't know, how everybody else feels about it, but it definitely is not work. It's fun and exciting.
Yeah. You could go out, put me on 100 acres with a large mansion on it. And yeah, the house is going to be nice and it's going to be pretty, but I don't care. I want to see what's outside.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd rather have a cabin in the middle of nowhere and, have 1,000 acres to run around on than.
Yeah. Same way, brother. I'm the same way. Well, man, what else? You got anything else you want to talk about here? We got a pretty good show going so far. So
No, I mean, I definitely appreciate you doing this. I think it's a great thing, Kix. It's not only a great thing for us agents, but, for the company, and just getting the word out there, and just, it's entertaining, listening to the guys talk. I've listened to everyone so far, and
yeah,
it's awesome. You're doing a great job. Keep up the good work.
thank you, man. Like I say, I'm really enjoying having these conversations with all these agents around and just getting to know them and getting to know a little bit about their land and what's around them and all that stuff. It's just interesting hearing everybody's story and getting to know everybody a little bit. So I appreciate the compliments, man, and I enjoy doing it.
I really appreciate you having me here, and hopefully we can do this again sometime.
Absolutely. Well, brother, I appreciate it. Let Travis and Tyler know that they need to get on this podcast, man. We got to get them on here. So
Yeah, I think it didn't work out for them today, but I think they're looking forward to it as well. And I don't know if they'll do it together or separately, but they're planning on doing it at some point.
awesome, man. Well, tell them to get a hold of me. Cody, I'll let you get to it, brother. I appreciate it. Guys, thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Base Camp Country Podcast. We will see you guys again next week. Cody, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thanks, Kix. You have a good one.
You too, brother.